have found the Genesis frequency. This is Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina welcoming you in to another episode of a show that focuses on your whole life prosperity and success. Whole life prosperity and success by cooperating with the universal laws that are available to each and every one of us. This is Quantum Leap Goal Achievement, radical personal transformation, whole life prosperity and success. Now, stay tuned for another exciting episode that'll move the needle in your life from where you are now to where you want to be. And welcome in. Welcome in. This is Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina, coming at you with another episode of the Genesis Frequency, a show all about personal, professional, and leadership development. Welcome in. We all want to be a little bit better version of ourselves today than we were yesterday. Isn't that what it's all about? And applying these principles, applying what we can learn from wisdom gained from those that have gone before. So we want to make this shift, right? We want something experienced in our lives that perhaps we're not experiencing right now, or maybe we want more of what we have experienced at one time. Whatever it is, we call those goals, dreams, desires, aspirations, objectives, any number of things. And that's what this show is really all about, making the move from where you are to where you want to be. I love really kicking off this year. Over the last few episodes, we've had some really good ones, a lot of good comments coming in about the last few shows that were were done. The last one was the frequency of positive expectancy. I mean, we got to stay in that space. The vault, a lot of people come to me. That was the episode before the last one, and they say they don't know how. And I talked about entering the vault where you can find all the wisdom, all the inspiration, all the guidance you need to move forward. And of course, we kicked off this season, this new year, with the New Beginning Fresh Start episode. So, all good stuff. I really suggest you go back, you take those in, you make some notes. Don't just listen to these. I mean, you can excuse me, but do yourself a favor and take what I share with you and apply it in your life. Write things down. Write things down. Something really connects with you, or the light bulb goes off, whatever it is. Write it down. Build some affirmations out of these episodes so you can apply this in your own life. That's what I'm sharing with you. I'm sharing with you. I didn't pick up a book, read it, and then I'm telling you about the book I read. I'm talking about principles, proven principles that I have studied over a great length of time, in most cases 40 plus years, and then applied to my life to make a transformation, to make a leap from where I was to where I want to be, and it wasn't easy in the beginning, okay? Because I would study it, it would make sense, and then I'd be like, well, I have a problem with the applying it part, or I have a problem with keeping my head in the game. I have a problem with my focus and attention because I would tend to drift to thoughts of and experiences of what I don't want. And that's what we all do. You hear me talk about habits and paradigms all the time in our internal programming. And we all tend to drift to thoughts of lack and limitation and what we don't want to experience. It takes some vigilance to stay in that place of positive expectation that we talked about in the prior episode. Today, I want to talk about something that really goes hand in hand with positive expectancy, and that's cultivating an abundance mindset, a prosperity mindset, a more than enough mindset. And this is really important. We can be in that state of positive expectation But we have to, again, we have to be vigilant because we're dealing with thoughts, we're dealing with words, we're dealing with actions, which are all, w- all the elements that make up our attitude, and our attitude is what makes us attractive to what we want to experience. So, if we're in a state of positive expectation, expecting our good to come, we have to walk that fine line because if we're expecting our good, we want to make sure we're not in a state of lack, right? So that's the fine line, the teeter-totter, so to speak. We don't want to come from the place when we're saying, "Hey, I'm staying in a remaining in a state of positive expectation because I'm lacking now." Because what does our habitual behavior tend to do? If you were prone to doing that in the past. I mean, if you always thought from lack, limitation, there's not enough, I don't have it, a lot depends on your upbringing, your background, your programming, that kind of thing. So we can stay in that state of positive expectation, but just make sure you're not coming from, I don't have it now, so I expect my good to be here today. You're immersed, you're swimming in your good. It's all here. And that's why cultivating an attitude of abundance is so important because we don't want to remain in a state of positive expectation if we're coming from an attitude of lack and limitation. Does that make sense? We can't allow that state to be a stronger or more dominant state, the lack and limitation state. Sure, there's something else you want to experience more of. We all want, increased financial security, time and money freedom, loving relationships, health and physical fitness, and on it goes. Some things we want to do, some things we want to experience, things we want to have in our lives that maybe aren't there now. But we have to cultivate that attitude of abundance that we're drawing it into our experience. It's not something that is lacking. It's not something that is limited now and at some future point that doesn't exist will be moved in because of my state of faith, belief, and positive expectation. It already exists. It already exists. And this is where you have to to move out, to expand from just your sensual, meaning your five sense input, your five senses. We take everything in through seeing and touching and hearing and smelling and tasting and all of that. And we have to move past that because a lack of evidence is not, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence, is one thing that I borrowed from Price Pritchett in his book U Squared. Great book, get that. So we have to make sure that we know that once we build out, deliberately build out in alignment with the law of specificity, meaning being very specific what we want to experience. And I talked about that too, crystallizing our thinking, crystallizing our goals. We've already created it. We've created in the invisible world of non form, but nevertheless, we've created it. Now, your senses are going to tell you, hey, it's not here. You're living in la la land. You're living in dreamland. What are you talking about? It's already created. Well, everything was created this way. Everything was created twice. The chair, the door, the bicycle, the seat, the television set, the computer, everything was first created as an idea, a thought in mind. And look at all the new ideas. Look at all the new innovations. Look at all the advances in technology. Look at one time, man looked at, the Wright brothers and say, "You crazy, man wasn't meant to fly," but it was there. They didn't invent the laws of aeronautical engineering. They were there all the time. Just like your dream, your desire, your objective, the culture you want to develop in your company, it's there, but you got to crystallize it, design it, and hold it as your dominant thought. And then it starts, the movement starts, the process starts where you become very attractive to it through the state of positive expectation, by not wavering in your thought, by not moving back to a place that says it's not here. I'm lacking this. I don't have what it takes. I don't know, and that goes back to this episode I did on the vault. So let's talk about this attitude of abundance and cultivating that attitude abundance. You have to really move away from the five senses, like I mentioned, because you might not be seeing it, but substance that we draw from is unlimited. But we're so conditioned. I mean, we're drawing from unlimited substance. The universe is unlimited and all that it can provide you to work with. I mean, just think about this for a moment. And this is really important because I remember a time years and years and years ago that I was just immersed in a state of consciousness of lack and limitation. I never had enough. There was a time I didn't have a checking account. But then I got a checking account. It was always, what's the balance? What's the balance? Always going and looking for what I'm lacking. Oh, it's getting too low. And it didn't matter what the balance was. It could be 100. Oh, I got below $100 in my, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Then as conditions change a little bit and I get, oh, what do I do? I'm getting below $1,000. I dip below 1,000. What am I going to do? And it didn't matter. Oh, $2,000. Okay, great. I want to stay above that. I dip below about $2,000 and it's like, oh no, the sky is falling, right? And then it just, it hit me. That number became relative. And it happened a little while when I wasn't vigilant. And, the number could be 20,000 or 50,000 or 100,000, but you dip below those numbers and you're going, oh my gosh, what is going on? And you start to drift to that state of lack and limitation, that attitude of lack and limitation. So that's why this is so important. What did I do early on? Well, I was at my place in my cabin in northern Michigan, and I really had to do this. I mean, I was studying book after book. I really wanted to be a prosperity teacher, something I still do to this day. And I had to get out of that mindset of lack of not having and I had to see how could I get more if I didn't appreciate what I already had, if I didn't appreciate what was already around me, if I didn't give thanks for what I had. So I had to shift from not having enough to knowing that there was abundance of all the good I desired in this universe. Now, let's stop right here. And I want to make sure that you are clear on all this because this is so important. Whether you're working on something for yourself as an individual, whether you're working on something in your small business as an entrepreneur, or on your corporate team, corporate culture, your corporate environment, goals and objectives that you have for the company. It's all the same way because this ties in with attitude. Hey, let's look at that for a minute. In your corporate environment, if you have an attitude or your employees have an attitude that, hey, there's just not enough here, that's gonna that's gonna spill over into everything else. We don't have enough good ideas. We don't have enough time to do this. It's an attitude that can infect everything. And it's an attitude that is contagious. So make no mistake about this. Look for the ways that you can take some of these things I talk about in these principles and apply them to yourself as an individual or in your professional life or as leaders of your own life or leaders in your professional vocation or your career. But let's look around. Let's look around at this universe, maybe we can't smell the or touch or taste the heavens, but we know that we can look up and we can see that because the heavens are filled with stars. I mean, you can't count them. It's impossible. Every time science or astronomers increase the power of the telescope, they remember, I don't know if you've seen that picture, they aim it on this place, this dark spot in the universe where it looks like there is nothing, and then they magnify this thing and then they see just another world with billions and billions and billions of more stars. So just because we couldn't see it, we can't hear it, we can't taste it, we can't touch it, doesn't mean it isn't there, and it's infinite. So that's what I did, going back to that place where I was living in lack and limitation. I thought, man, these books I was studying was directing me to do that, to look about you. You're immersed in it. We're swimming in it. We're swimming in abundance. So we look to the stars. I mean, and the skies and the heavens, and it's just on and infinite, lacking for nothing. What about just this planet that we live on? Look at can you count all the drops that are in the oceans and the lakes and the streams and the rivers and that fall from the skies and the rain? Abundance, abundance, life and creation and lavish greenery, just always renewing and sprouting and springing forth and coming alive every springtime or staying alive, depending what climate you're in, right? Just an abundance of greenery and life and leaves. That's really what I was doing. I was at my place in northern Michigan and I had, I don't know, what did I have? I had about half an acre or something like that, and lots and lots and lots and lots of trees. And when it came time, the first time to clean up those leaves a little bit, because we had to do that, I wasn't utilizing blowers and machinery and things. I went out there with a rake, and it's like, man, this little 10-foot by 20-foot area took me all day, and I was so sore. But I was also in that place where I was studying at the same time. And I'm saying, man, this is a lesson in abundance. I can feel it because my shoulders and my elbows feel like they're going to fall off. There is an abundance in nature. So I started to really pay attention to it. Look at all the leaves. Look at all the leaves. And this is just on my little piece of property. Look at all the leaves. I started to notice all the leaves in northern Michigan, all the pine needles. Pine needles were like a 1-inch carpet underneath those leaves, like a blanket, like a rug you could even roll up. And I'm going, "Oh my God, can you count the pine needles? Can you count these leaves? It's infinite. There is abundance." Look at then I looked at, I lived right on Lake Huron in northern Michigan. I'm going, "Look at the grains of the sand." I could spend all day and I couldn't even count out the grains of sand in just a cup, a measuring cup. You couldn't even do that. Just think of all the grains of sand on all the beaches and in the deserts and all over the world. The hairs on our head, the hills, the mountains, the valleys, and all the minerals. Just it's infinite. And there's this invisible substance that is infinite, that is energy, that is magnetic, that we draw from. And we magnify our condition through everything I talked about in the previous episodes, through our beliefs, through our attitudes, through our state of positive expectation. So we have to be aware of and know that abundance is infinite. So many times we drift to another reason this is so important. So many times we drift to finances, right? We drift to finances when we're talking about abundance. Oh, this is all about money. I don't want to go there. I'm good. This abundance is in everything. What about your mental potential? What about your capacity to be, do, and have more? What about your capacity for performance and productivity? How about if you just used a little bit more of your potential? You're not using 100% of it. Nobody does. We look to some of the great minds of the world. Even Albert Einstein stated that he probably used less than 10% of his potential, but yet the world recognizes him as one of the greatest geniuses of all time. So our potential, just like the substance I've been talking about, the grains of sand and the stars in the sky and the water and the leaves and all that, our potential is unlimited and infinite. So if we walk around with an attitude that, hey, there's no more ideas. We tried everything. That's absurd. Your potential is infinite. We can draw on this infinite substance. We call it substance because it's this invisible stuff that just is, and it is infinite. Maybe in our immediate field of experience, we don't have that which we can taste, touch, feel, smell, and all that and hear, but it doesn't mean it's not there. So that's why I really, really, really invite you to cultivate this attitude of abundance. Start to notice it all around you. Start to see it all around you. Start to feel into it, lean into it all around you. Claim it as yours. Claim it as yours through the power of affirmative statements throughout your day. That's the next thing I did. I mean, I just wrote everything down. Every prosperity book I studied, I had a spiral notebook that I had go with it, and I took every statement on positive expectancy and faith and belief around abundance and moving myself away from lack and limitation. And I wrote those affirmations out, and I wrote them over and over and over again. And then I put them on index cards, and I kept them front and center. And I affirmed them on the treadmill. I affirmed them when I was out for a walk. I affirmed them every single day. And you know what? I still do. I affirm my good. I magnetize my condition. I remain in a state of positive expectation. Yeah, we all have highs and lows, right? We have times when it doesn't appear like there's enough of what we really want to experience, but that is an illusion. It's there. And this is the stuff that I'm talking about that will draw it to you through the power of your energy being magnetized by how you condition it with your thoughts, your words, and your actions. Even if you don't have it, you don't see it, you don't feel it, you still have to walk in the energy. You still have to carry yourself as I am abundantly blessed. I am rich in mind, body, and spirit. That is going to draw unto you conditions, circumstances, people, experiences that you never thought possible. They will move into your lives to support this. This is why I always go back to everything is energy. Everything is energy and contributing to your magnetism, your power to attract into your life, what you desire to experience. So work on this, and we can talk more about this moving forward. There's so many things I want to talk about this season of this show, the Genesis Frequency. So stay tuned. More good stuff. Take what works for you. This works. I've proved it in my own life. I am abundantly blessed, and I want you to feel that way and be that way too. And even if you are too, you already are in your business, your personal life, or your corporate life, your vocation, your career, whatever it may be. Hey, we can always do better because remember, our potential is infinite and unlimited as well. And none of us are using all of it. So we want to keep learning. We want to keep growing. We want to keep listening to other ideas and applying them in our lives, embodying this material so that we can experience that increased performance, that increased use of our potential, that increased productivity, and the experience of everything we hope and wish to experience in our lives. Everything we wish to be, do, and have. Remember, it starts with the being. What are you being? Are you being someone that lives in a place of lack and limitation and not enough? Well, then more will be given, right? More will be given. You've heard it before. To those who have, more will be given. To those who have not, even what they have will be taken away. This all has to do with consciousness. Have and have a consciousness that is infinite in its thinking, no boundaries, no boxes, no anything. You have an infinite, unfailing supply of all good. Your source is infinite. Your source is unfailing and all supplying of all good. Let's go. Let's do this thing. Let's not walk out and lift our cup. Let's go with barrels and say, fill her up. I am ready for my good to move in. Work on it. Cultivate that attitude of abundance, and you'll see things moving into your life that will just leave you scratching your head. I don't know how. I know it's got to have something to do with my attitude. I don't know how this works. You don't have to know how it works. Just try it. I tell you, everything that I talk about on the show today, try it, prove it for yourself. Then come on back and leave a comment for everybody else so we can inspire more people in this world to live from their potential, to cultivate an attitude of abundance, and to move more good into their lives. I really, really believe this is what we are all here for, to experience joy and abundance in our lives. Out of time for today. That went by pretty fast, didn't it? You've been listening to the Genesis Frequency. I invite you to reach out to me if you need help with any of this, if you're looking for corporate training in your business or in your small business, if you need coaching, consulting. And don't forget, I got a marketing arm with Kevin Harrington from one of the original Sharks and all kind of things on the plate and under the umbrella of Success Ocean International. proud franchisee of Leadership Management International. So we can come into your place and help you there, or help you with anything. Let's just start with a conversation. Successappointment.com. Successappointment.com gets you on my calendar, opens up in your time zone, and we get together and just talk. For now, this is Dr. Stephen J. Kosmina, Dr. Cause and Effect, wishing you an infinitely spectacular day. God bless you.